What's up everyone, it's the Russian Eagle here, back with another video today. Today we're doing a 4v4 siege in Rome 2 Total War. This replay is being brought to me by Daku from So we've got these Levy Freemen now coming off with Celtic Warriors and the other unit of Celtic Warriors that are moving up now. We're over here capping this point, well, the tower, just to stop it killing our men. The Lusitani and Saba artillery are still attempting to get some shots on the troops in this area. Saba's towers are now landing the walls. Got the noble swordsmen coming up now, deploying onto the walls. The defenders aren't really doing much in holding the walls, though I think they're more concentrating on holding the paths in here and in here. They are moving troops around to combat Lusitani over here, just due to Lusitani's ability just to probably have guerrilla deployed, and maybe they deem Lusitani the biggest threat out of the four of us. Oh, get some good shots on. I'm moving my warriors up just now, just to move them forward a bit more. Getting the rest of my reserves moving up as well. There's not much combat really going. Oh, we got combat over here between these Club Levy and the Iberian Swords. With another unit of Club Levy moving in for support. Lusitani is sending in another unit of Iberian Swords to assist. Meanwhile, Athens has hoplites marching over to a disengagement here. He is pulling back in with mercenary veteran hoplites due to taking fire, I'm pretty sure. 2 units actually, one just appeared. Saba's now moving Desert Levy and Noble Swords into towers to get them up into the settlement. Arverni's now pushing Celtic warriors against these Theros spears, as well as Armenia's pushing a unit of axemen into the melee over there. I'm pushing up a unit of spear warriors and Levy Freemen into this engagement, just due to try and stop these Theros spears getting shot on these tribal warriors over here, and to get engage the enemy forces. You know, I'm moving my archers up through these towers to get my missiles up here so I can get some good missile support and get some good shots on the enemy. Celtic warriors are now engaging these wolf warriors over here with the support from Saba moving up some noble swords in support. Over here Lusitani's Iberian Swords are taking these hoplites with additional support from Saba in 2 units of noble swords nearby. Lusitani is moving up veteran shield warriors up into the settlement, well, on their way into the settlement, as well as retreating some Iberian Swords back. The defenders are now pushing more troops down into the lower level of the settlement, just attempting to hold it further, I'm pretty sure. The unit of 87 spear warriors is close to routing just due to archers up on this hill, which was a major problem for me at least, attempting to hold this, or attempting to fight this, just because all the shots they were getting, as I didn't really have bows. I didn't have as a longer range to try and get some shots on them up there. Over this side, the fight's proceeding. We've got Lusitani and Saba just fighting over the gate. Over here, got some of Lusitani's Iberian swords, I think they were. Yeah, Iberian swords routing. But there is plenty of Lusitani forces still moving up into the settlement. We got these Gaelic hunters coming under fire from this unit of archers from Athens as the King Grayson moves them up through the towers. Ivern is now pushing more soldiers up to try and break through here. Where those 2 units of those spears and 2 units of axemen from Armenia are holding in here. Over on this side, I'm trying to get some shots in on these Theros spears. The Theros spears did kill the other unit that was assigned against them, the Wolf Warrior unit. Were they the Wolf Warriors? No, they were... the spears, yes. The Levy Freeman. As well as the same with this Levy Freeman, I just trapped them in the hole with the Theros spears there so they couldn't use their javelins. And try and get some shots on them when my slingers decide to be competent people. Over here, I actually did not notice that these archers were targeting my mercenary Thracian peltasts until they started routing, and which then I was like, oh wow, there goes effective 1 missile unit of mine. I've lost a quarter of my missiles. I'm pulling back these units of Gallo-Thracian infantry and tribal warriors. Pulling them back now. Over on this side, the fight's going a bit better than it is on my side. Saba and Arverni are pushing on these wolf warriors up here. Lusitani and Saba are pushing on these hoplites. We've got Lusitani pushing in against these hoplites from Athens, as well as these noble spears from Armenia. He's doing moderately well against them. Over here, King Grayson has withdrawn his forces from the engagement up here, but it's probably due to him bringing up missile troops to skirmish down his enemy. Over here, I've still got my slingers getting shots on these Theros spears. I'm still getting shot at by the second of Theros spears that I haven't managed to get contained yet. These Levy Freemen have broken. They might just keep them engaged for a second while they're routing, while the Theros spears kill them off for the moment, so even routing they are still helping me a bit better. I'm moving up some more missile units, as in my other mercenary Thracian peltasts, the ones that didn't die. As you can see, we got these Gaelic hunters getting some good shots on these axemen and thorax swords, and Theros spears had hold in the gap. King has formed a line with his troops to protect his missile troops, which is good tactics. Over here we've got noble swordsman Saba just killing off these wolf warriors. Saba's archers are getting some good shots on these hoplites, with counterfire coming back from Athens archers. Managed to ravering and potentially routing the units of Spain archers. Lusitani's Balak slingers are getting some shots on these Simri bowwomen from Swaby that are on the walls. We got this unit of veteran shield warriors that is fighting these wolf warriors at this point. this unit of axemen, 2 units of axemen are charging into the defences of King's missile troops. He managed to rout one of them while engaging the other one and wavering it at this point, potentially into rout next. Noble swordsmen are charging at this unit of Therius hoplites with the support of the support from the Gaelic hunters. Over this side the skirmish is still going on. Now some spear warriors are moving in to attack this unit of Therius spears. Over here we've got some Syrian heavy archers from Seleucid trying to get some shots over here on these noble swords and the unit from Arverni that I just missed seeing what it was before it routed. Now we see some of these chosen swords from Arverni moving up to engage these Therius spears and thorax swords in this choke point over here. We got some mercenary Mascat marauders from Saba now engaging these hoplites. Oops, sorry about that. Got these veteran shield warriors over here that are fighting on. They are losing, but they are quite well holding. Saba's bringing in more reinforcements to help fight for the walls. We got this massed volleys from these three interspean archers. Seems like they're targeting the side of those Therius hoplites, trying to kill them off. Over here we've got the wolf warriors engaging this unit of Therius spears, trying to slowly kill them off. But we do still have another full unit of Therius spears behind them, as I thought this was the full actual unit, but then realised it was just the unit of 30. That was the one that I whittled down, but that's the full unit, so yeah, that was fun to figure out. Here we have Arverni moving up forward for units of chosen swords. He's moving them onto the walls. Same with Lusitani moving up more forces onto the walls as well, in the form of his Balic slingers. I don't know if they've deemed this side attackable anymore, because it seems like Lusitani has pulled away a good push. Lusitani and Saba have pulled their men away from this point. I suspect they've deemed this part, well, they deemed this part unassaultable and just decided to concentrate on this side to take it, and then we could just push on further into the settlement. I send the unit of Celtic boys to fight these Therius spears, as well as start and get some shots in with my Onager. Yeah. Oh. Oh, got some kills in the Cartley axemen behind them, and have my one unit of pelters to get some missile shots on them. Over here we've got some chosen swords and some Gaelic hunters moving into the combat here with these unit of Therius spears and mercenary veteran hoplites. Here at the gate, we're still trying to get through here. Athens is still holding that point there quite well. He has a unit of hoplites being shot at by these two spear archers that still have ammo. One of the units got routed, but seems to be recovering at this moment. Everyone's pushing. Arverni's pushing up some men small unit to support me on this side, while I'm pushing up some Celtic warriors to try and get through this gap. My concern was mainly not to commit too many troops, just due to the amount of missiles they had over here. This one, was attempting to support my allies, but it was just concerning because due to the amount of troops I could lose. Over here we've got our Verney pushing against these thorax swords and Theros spears over here. Still pushing up. We've got Saba trying to push this choke point, which is held by 2 units of Theros spears and unit of hoplites and mercenary veteran hoplites. We did manage to get through the unit that was here and push on into the further in, where we're now engaging these Cartley axemen as well as the front line of Theros spears that are there. We do have units of thorax swords over here that are throwing their javelins into the side of our warriors, as well as the massed archers up here that are getting some shots off on our men. Over on this side, Lusitani, Arverni and Saba are pushing against the forces over here. Got the spear walls holding just there, as Arverni's pulling back some chosen swords. Lusitani did send some ballad slingers over to help me just trying to combat all these missiles up here, because the ballad slingers had good range and good ammo just to get some shots in up here. My Celtic warriors are breaking the Theros spears slowly, so then we can engage. I did move up my pelters to support as well. At this point I did have I had semi-moderate forces left to attempt to assault. I've only had reserves. Sarva's still got some reserves. I've only still got his general that's over there in the woods, all the way out there. I still had my general. Lusitani's still got that 3 in Siskatai spearmen that were around the other side of the settlement that is marched over. There's still a unit of Oathsworn and Celtic warriors there for Arverni. We still have Lusitani's general, as in the Lusitani nobles, for support. Got these Mascat marauders that are moving up the towers still, as well as the Desert Levy. We still have a good force left to fight, as well. So do the defenders. The defenders still got the good amount of archers they have hidden up here, as well as good units that can hold in melee for a while. They've still got hoplites, they've still got all their pikes, I'm pretty sure, because I haven't seen any pikes. I'm moving forces up now into the gap. These Cartley axemen tried to outflank my Celtic warriors, so I decided to engage. We're trying to get some shots on that unit of thorax swords, not really working overly well. I'm getting some slingers into position, trying to get some shots up there, but due to the archers up here being hidden again, I wasn't unable to, and they are just taking fire from people they can't see that are hidden. We've got Arverni reserves landing on the walls now to support the main offensive still. There's nothing much happening over here with the assault. Arverni's over here still just fighting off the last of these routing hoplites. Over here in this gap we are slowly getting somewhere. These mercenary Thracian pelters were pushing the combat due to them not having any ammo left against these thorax swords. still have another thorax swords that are sitting there. We are still trying to get some shots on them to whittle them down so they're less effective in combat. I am marching my general up onto the wall now. Just getting all combat troops I can onto the wall. I'm pushing 2 units up here. 2 units of tribal warriors to try and get some outflanking maneuvers on that thorax swords and try and get round to engage that unit of thorax swords as well. We are making a little bit of progress on an offensive. Lusitani's slingers get some shots on the defensive position they've set up here. They did move into mercenary Cretan archers, but are now Athens is now pulling them back just due to them being targeted. The defenders have still got a solid hold on this part of the settlement. We have been unable to dislodge them. Arverni is pushing up. Arverni and Saba are pushing up troops to try and engage them and break through here. A unit of Saba's mercenary Mascat marauders has managed to get through the mercenary veteran hoplites that are here, but are getting shot at quite consistently by this unit of eastern slingers as well as the round shield swordsmen. They are trying to engage those bowmen. Lusitani sent in the crew of their ballista just because they didn't have any shots left and they just threw them in to the meat grinder. Arverni is now cycling his troops, which is a good tactic, letting your winded troops rest while you send in a fresh unit to combat while the enemy's forces are winded or tired, which is quite an effective combat. Oh, we have Athens sending a unit of their pikes into combat now. Lusitan is now moving up slingers, no presumably doubt to try and target the pikemen. Arverni was going to go for a charge in there but has now changed his mind and now is pushing up. Oh no, he's going in there. Arverni sending a charge into those mercenary veteran hoplites to try and break them. Saba's broken through on this side and is now engaging these simply bowwomen. His troops will probably encounter that pike phalanx slightly and may lose several losses. Arverni is now moving troops around this side to help clear it instead of pushing up to engage this unit of round shield swordsmen. Over here, Armenia is now sending troops into this combat over here to try and stabilize the line. They did move thorax pikemen in to attempt to stabilize the line on this side, so my men aren't doing that well and are now beginning to use flaming shot. I attempted to push in another unit of Galathosian infantry just to try and get in. I have some forces left. I've got a very small amount left. Lusitani is now moving up his Katari spearmen as well as general into this area for a push. Arverni has managed to get clear through here and now engaging these round shield swordsmen up on this hill. Saba is moving a unit of mercenary Mascat marauders in for support. We got these chosen swordsmen fleeing. These eastern slingers, I presume, are out of ammo at this moment, potentially. Unsure. Honestly, just holding. These mercenary Cretan archers are not. They're moving up. Athens is marching forward its pikes into these chosen swords. Pretty much all these missile units over here are attempting to engage those pikes to whittle the numbers down at least to a number that we can handle effectively. Over here we are slowly routing or wavering the units here. We did manage to rout that unit of thorax pike finally, and now we are able to get in here. Armenia is trying to push up Axemen to hold the line, but then they can get outflanked by this unit of Galathracian infantry. This unit of elite Persian archers is using fire arrows against this sort of clump, smallish clump that we did set up of archers and slingers, or men slingers. Armenia is now retreating their archers, as the thorax swords and cutlery axemen did break, as well as the units that are still in combat wavering or are being withdrawn by the enemy, by the defenders. We are pushing in on this side against the remaining defenders on this side, but it seems like they are calling the withdrawal back up to the second layer now, or pretty much up to here, which then they'll probably push up and defend, the hold and defend. We have this big clump of archers up here still, but they do not seem to have ammo at this point. Meanwhile, pushing up troops now to engage. This unit of Persian cavalry became interested in my men, and give a shock charge into this unit of tribal warriors, or tribal warriors, 2 units of tribal warriors, and its mercenary Thracian pelters, but there weren't really much left in the unit. I'm moving up the remains of my army now, with what's left of it. Lusitani slingers are still getting shots up there on these archers and missile troops. We were unaware if they did have ammo left, so we did just decide to kill them just in case. Our Vernies now managed to push in and cut off the retreat of these axemen. The cav managed to push through and escape. They are now setting up defences over here and pushing troops in. We are trying to get troops in there before they fully deploy and secure it. Armenia pushed up some axemen, but is now pulling them back. We have these round shield swordsmen that are moving up into position over here, but now seem to be retreating. This unit of Galathracian infantry is killing off this thorax swordsman unit, and the elite Persian archers are now being committed into combat. I managed to push down this unit of Galathracian infantry. We got the Scutari spearmen using their peeler to try and get some shots in on the enemy. Alverni and I are now pushing combat troops up through this gap here to try and engage it. Over here, Alverni, Lusitani and Saba forces have managed to pretty much clear out this part of the settlement. We were considering going up here to engage. It was a consideration at that point. We have round shield swordsmen withdrawing, securing this flank, while we've got this unit of axemen and another unit of round shield swordsmen holding this gap. At this time, Arvoni and our warriors were bunched up at this point, and we were getting good shots on. I was pushing my general of Oathsworn in. So Arvoni was moving. No, I was moving some tribal warriors as well to engage. Arvoni's pushing up some levy freemen on this side as well. And pretty much now let's just basically push. trying to get them before they set their defenses fully up. We are pushing units around this way to try and outflank them attemptedly. Keep all of their attention at these main defensive points while we try and outflank them. This point we'll just push in, trying to get as much attention from defenders on us as we were to get it off them, to make the defenders less obvious to what they are doing. The unit of Persian cav is still sitting there. Arvoni has put some chosen swordsmen out in front and deployed chosen swords and a unit of Oathsworn to hold the line, just in case the cav decide to come and attempt to charge us. Over here there's a pathfinding error for some weird reason, and the troops just didn't mess a bunch for a second. Defenders did take advantage of that with their massed archers and started shooting at that clump. We did withdraw a bit off, we did pull a bit off just to get some missile shots in, as well as clear out some remaining enemy forces. We're now pushing more and more warriors up. Lusitani is now pushing up his slingers to give us some support as well. I'm unsure whether my men have ammo left or why I wasn't pushing them up. Over on this side, Saba is sending forces around the flank. Unsure if the defenders didn't notice that. They might have. I was attempting to reform my men just for the moment to organise them before I sent them in on the charge. Unit Celtic tribesmen is trying to fight these round shield swordsmen, but they are losing decisively and are wavering. This unit Tribal Warriors is in combat even with the round shield swords, but now due to the presence of these Celtic Warriors from Arvoni, they are losing decisively. Lusitani is now moving up what remaining forces he has. He has 2 units of slingers engaging this unit Syrian heavy archers up here. Lusitani's pushed up a good force, a unit of Oathsworn and a unit of chosen swords to engage the archers and cavalry up here, just to finish any enemy forces that are up there. The fight over here is going well. It's a steady fight. Lusitani is now pushing up Scutari Spearmen into the gap. These Balog Slingers, I'm presuming, have no ammo left, so they're going into combat. One of these Balog Slingers units did mount. Saba and Lusitani are moving up their final reserves. I'm moving up my missile troops from further back in the settlement to get some supporting fire on these guys. Now, at this point, I was still supporting my allies, but I was regrouping myself. Except the defenders can see that and are now concentrating their fire on my slingers, which now they are wavering a unit of them, which is not overly good. I'm pushing up a unit of Gallo-Thracian infantry into the fight over here. My slingers are Now engaging their archers, or attempting to get some shots in on them. Gallifreyan infantry are now engaging these hoplites. Hoplites that can hold for quite a while. Meanwhile, the mass force of Athenian archers, well, mercenary Cretan archers, are now putting volley after volley into my missile troops, which I am outnumbered to missiles. I have 3 missile units targeting this one unit, so they're probably going to die decisively. Over here we are slowly killing them off. These picked hoplites are the major concern because they are a unit that can hold for quite a long time in defense. They are good, they have high defensive capabilities and can hold for a good amount of time. Lusitani's trying to skirmish down these silver shield pikemen, which are Seleucid's general unit. Now Lusitani's withdrawing them back. I am now pushing up more warriors. Unit 45, a unit of 45 tribal warriors, and a unit of 64 Celtic tribesmen, which they will push up to the front. Trying not to present too big of a clump of troops for the enemy. Lusitani pushed up some Bailic slingers, still had ammo, I'm presuming. We have a unit of Oathsworn being the King's Grayson's command unit of Oathsworn is being pushed up over on that side. Unsure if he is going to engage the pikes or he's just standing between the pikes and the 3 units of Bailic slingers. One of the generals, I think the Athenian general, just committed a volley, so he tried to steal the resolve and morale of the units in his area, in the radius. These hoplites are dying off slowly. There's 129 of them left, except there's a full unit of 160 behind them. This the Athenian and Armenian archers over here. I get some good and archers from Swaby. I get some good shots on our forces as well, so we're moving up. We're pretty much moving up everything we've got left to engage in the fight. Good cinematic shots. I'm pushing up some tribal warriors into the fight. Saba is now pushing his general of noble swords into the fight to combat, to just try and clear it. As you can now see, the defenders are now rushing troops into the gap, trying to hold it. They're pushing archers into the gap as well. Interesting. They're either out of ammo or they're willing to chuck missile troops with ammo left to hold the gap. Over here, it's still a slow fight against this hoplite. One unit's down to 108, while the other unit, the general unit's down to 143. The King Grayson, he's moving his general command unit further back just due to it being targeted by the archer force up here. The archer forces from Athens. up here. I swear we did move in there archers to try and hold the gap. Over here we've got Lusitani with the flanking maneuver, coming in on the flank of these guys. Athens did... Oh, did they or did they not? Yeah, I think Athens did see it, so they're trying to come over here and hold them off with what limited troops they've got left. And as you can see, this battle will be coming to a close quite soon. We have 3 minutes left on the clock. I've got this unit of Galathracian infantry throwing pelters, throwing their javies, trying to get some shots in. I'm moving up my command unit of Oathsworn to engage. We're just... They did a final last rally just to try and rally their troops. All the units are moving. Everything defenders have chucked in have been thrown in here. Pretty much. We're just over here capping towers now, pretty much. 2 minutes 17 left on the clock. Oh, good kill. These hoplites are still solidly holding against this unit of Galathracian infantry. Lusitani is now pushing his noble unit into the fight. We had a rally and raised banner called so all the units in the area get morale bonuses for the attackers, which is good. We have a minute and a half left on the clock. Let's see how it goes. The hoplites are slowly falling. Over here we've got Saba's forces outflanking them into the rear. Up here we're just engaging the last few units they have. The unit of elite Persian archers up here, as well as that pikeman unit that had withdrawn. Just going also go off and kill off their arty pieces that they've got around here just to finish them all off. We're now pushing in on these hoplites, circling them, encircling them. Lusitani is pushing his noble unit into the fight. We've all just basically pushed what we've got left in. These hoplites are out in, and that's the mass rout. That's where the mass rout for the defenders occurred, and thus the battle ended. Let's go have a look at the kills. We actually did moderately alright over here. We had Lusitani, who was played by Blade. He got 2,302 kills, with his highest kills coming from a unit of Balak Slingers with 300 kills. We had Daku Gaming TV, who was playing Saba. He got 1,383 kills. His highest kills coming from a unit of Noble Swordsmen with 128. We had the King Grayson, who was playing Iverni. He got 2,618 kills, with his highest kills coming from a unit of Oathsworn with 355 kills. We had me, the Russian Eagle, who was playing Tylus. I got 1,668 kills, with the highest kills coming from 299 from a unit of tribal warriors. We had Athens, who was played by Jata 2005. He got 2,314 kills, with the highest kills coming 227 coming from a unit of picked hoplites. We had Per Miles, who was playing Armenia. He got 1,183 kills, with his highest unit of kills coming from this unit of Cartley Axemen with 113. No, 187 from these elite Persian archers is his highest unit with kills. We had Pozdrev Pandur, who's playing Swaby. They got 2,557 kills, with the highest amount of kills coming from this unit of Cimbri bowwomen with 260 kills. And we had, last but not least, Seleucid, played by Lumbrigar, with 2,213 kills, with the highest amount of kills coming in is 291 from this unit of Syrian heavy archers. So guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the battle. Please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. And if you're here, thank you for watching the video. We've almost hit 50 subs, so thank you guys for your support. I do greatly appreciate it. I've been the Russian Eagle. Hope you've enjoyed. Bye.